Christmas Eve arrived quietly in Olamide's life, the way sorrow always does. Without knocking, without warning, without mercy. The Harmattan wind swept through the narrow streets of Ajegunle, lifting dust into the air and rattling rusted zinc roofs like tired drums. Christmas lights flickered weakly from shop fronts that could barely afford electricity, and somewhere in the distance, a church choir rehearsed carols that sounded more like prayers than songs. Olamide sat on the edge of a worn mattress in a single-room apartment that smelled of candle wax and boiled rice. In her hands was a small red dress, neatly folded, ironed days ago, untouched since. It was meant for her daughter. Her fingers trembled as she traced the fabric, her throat tightening the way it always did when she tried not to cry. Christmas had come again, and once again, her house was too quiet. No laughter, no tiny footsteps, no voice calling her mummy from the doorway, just silence. 3 years earlier, Christmas had been loud in this same room. Her daughter Zara had danced barefoot on the cracked floor, spinning in circles as Olamide clapped and laughed. Zara had been 5 years old then, full of questions, stubborn joy, and a laugh that made strangers smile. That was the last Christmas they had together. The knock on the door came suddenly. Olamide froze. She wasn't expecting anyone, she rarely was. The knock came again, soft, hesitant, like the person on the other side wasn't sure they were welcome. Slowly, Olamide stood, wiped her face, and opened the door. A boy stood there. He couldn't have been more than 12. He was thin, barefoot, wearing an oversized t-shirt and holding a small brown envelope against his chest as if it were something fragile. His eyes were too serious for his age, dark and searching. "Good evening, Ma," he said quietly. "Yes," Olamide replied, her voice guarded. "This is for you." He stretched out the envelope. Olamide frowned. "From who?" The boy swallowed. "From my father." Something in his tone made her chest tighten. "And who is your father?" she asked. The boy hesitated, then said, "He said you would know his name. Samuel Adeyemi." The world tilted. Olamide grabbed the door frame to steady herself. Samuel Adeyemi. She hadn't heard that name spoken out loud in 3 years, not since the day he vanished from her life with nothing but a phone call and a lie. "Where is he?" she demanded. The boy shook his head. "I don't know. He told me to give you the letter tonight. He said Christmas Eve is when truth refuses to stay buried." Olamide stared at the envelope like it might explode. "Go home," she said finally, her voice breaking. "It's late." The boy nodded, turned, and disappeared into the fading evening light without another word. Olamide shut the door and slid down against it, her heart pounding so loudly she thought it might tear through her chest. Slowly, she opened the envelope. Inside was a letter folded once, and beneath it, something else. A photograph. Her breath caught. It was Zara, older, taller, smiling, alive. Olamide screamed. The letter fell from her hands as her entire body began to shake. She clutched the photograph, her tears soaking into the paper as years of grief cracked open all at once. Her daughter wasn't dead. She was alive. With shaking hands, Olamide picked up the letter and began to read. "Olamide, if you are reading this, then I have finally done the one thing I have been running from, telling the truth. Zara is alive. She has always been alive. I didn't take her to hurt you. I took her because I was afraid of what the truth would do to both of us. I made a choice that night, a selfish one, and every Christmas since then has punished me for it. You deserve answers. Zara deserves her mother. Meet me tomorrow morning, Christmas Day. 7 a.m. National Theater grounds. Come alone." Samuel Olamide dropped the letter. Her mind spun with memories she had buried just to survive. Samuel, the man who had promised her forever. The man who had left one December night, claiming he was taking Zara to see his mother for Christmas. The man who never came back. She remembered standing at the bus stop for hours that night, clutching Zara's small jacket, waiting, calling his phone again and again until it went dead. The police had said he fled the country. Others said he sold the child. Some whispered darker things. Olamide had buried Zara with no body, no grave, just grief. And now, a photograph, a meeting, a Christmas Day confrontation. Outside, fireworks cracked in the sky as neighbors celebrated. Children laughed. Music played. Olamide stood slowly, her hands shaking as she folded the letter and tucked the photograph into her chest. If this was a lie, it would destroy her. If it was the truth, it would change everything. She looked at the small red dress one last time, then packed it into a bag. For the first time in 3 years, Olamide whispered words she had been afraid to say. "Zara, Mummy is coming." And somewhere across the city, a little girl stared out of a window at falling Christmas lights, unaware that the day she had been waiting for was finally almost here. Olamide did not sleep that night. Sleep had no place in a house where the dead had suddenly returned to life. She sat on the mattress until dawn, the red dress folded neatly beside her, the photograph pressed to her chest like a fragile promise. Every few minutes, she would look at Zara's face again, memorizing it, searching for proof that this was not some elaborate cruelty designed to break her completely. The girl in the photo had her eyes, no doubt about it. That same stubborn spark. That same crooked smile Zara used to give when she knew she was about to misbehave. Alive. The word felt dangerous in her mouth. At 5:30 a.m., the mosque nearby called the faithful to prayer. Olamide stood, washed her face, and dressed slowly, deliberately, as though every movement anchored her to reality. She wore a simple black dress and flat shoes. No makeup, no jewelry. This was not a celebration. This was a reckoning. By 6:15 a.m., she was outside, walking toward the main road. The city was unusually quiet for Christmas morning. Even Lagos seemed to be holding its breath. The sky was pale, streaked with soft pink and gray, and the air carried that strange stillness that only came before something life-altering. She boarded a Danfo heading toward Iganmu, her heart pounding harder with every stop. National Theater grounds, the place where Samuel had first told her he loved her years ago, where they had shared roasted corn and cheap wine, dreaming dreams that had since collapsed into ash. By 6:58 a.m., she was there. The massive concrete structure loomed ahead, silent and imposing, like a witness that had seen too much to speak. The grounds were mostly empty, just a few early joggers, security men sipping tea, and street hawkers setting up quietly. Then she saw him. Samuel stood near a mango tree, his back to her, his shoulders slumped like the weight of the world had finally crushed him. He looked older, thinner, haunted. Olamide stopped walking. For a moment, she considered turning around, walking away, pretending none of this was real. Then Samuel turned, their eyes met, and in that instant, 3 years of grief, rage, love, and betrayal collided. "You have some audacity," Olamide said, her voice shaking as she stepped forward. "Calling me here, on Christmas." Samuel swallowed hard. "You came. Don't flatter yourself," she snapped. "If you lied to me—" "I didn't," he cut in, his voice breaking. "Olamide, I swear on everything I have left. Zara is alive." "Where is she?" Olamide demanded. "Where's my daughter?" Samuel looked around, then back at her. "Not here, it's not safe." She laughed, a sharp, hollow sound. "Not safe? You stole my child, and now you're talking about safety?" "I didn't steal her," he whispered. "I saved her." That was when Olamide slapped him. The sound echoed across the empty grounds. Samuel staggered back, stunned, but he didn't raise a hand. He deserved it. They both knew that. "Saved her from what?" Olamide cried. "From her own mother?" "No," Samuel said quietly. "From the people who were coming for her." Olamide froze. "What people?" Samuel ran a hand through his hair, his eyes darting nervously. "Do you remember the night Zara was born?" Of course she remembered. The power outage, the hospital chaos, the nurse who kept leaving the ward. "You hemorrhaged," Samuel continued. "You almost died. But Zara cried too loudly, too strongly." "That makes no sense," Olamide snapped. "The doctor came back later," Samuel said. "He asked strange questions. About your family, about your maiden name, about your father." Olamide's chest tightened. "My father died before I was born." Samuel nodded. "Exactly, but he wasn't who you thought he was." Olamide stared at him. "Stop talking in riddles." Samuel exhaled slowly. "Your father was involved in something years ago, something that made powerful enemies. When Zara was born, someone recognized the name on the hospital file. Someone made a call." Olamide felt cold. 2 days later, Samuel continued, "a woman approached me. She said she was from social services. She said there had been a mix-up with Zara's records, that they needed to take her for additional tests." "And you believed her?" Olamide whispered. "No," Samuel said, "because that same night I saw the same woman meeting with 2 men outside the hospital. Men who didn't look like doctors." Silence stretched between them. "They told me Zara wouldn't be safe if she stayed with you," Samuel said, his voice barely audible. "They said she would disappear, that there were people watching." "So you disappeared instead," Olamide said bitterly. "I panicked," Samuel admitted. "I took her and ran. I didn't think. I just ran." "And you let me bury my child?" Olamide screamed. "You watched me rot from grief?" Samuel's eyes filled with tears. "I watched from a distance. Every year, every Christmas, I saw what it did to you, and I hated myself for it." "Then why now?" she demanded. "Why send a boy to my door? Why today?" "Because they're dead," Samuel said. Olamide blinked. "Who?" "The men who were after her," he said. "The ones who made me run. They died last year. Power shifted. The danger passed." "And Zara?" Olamide whispered. "What did you tell her?" Samuel closed his eyes. "That her mother died." The words hit Olamide harder than any slap. She staggered back. "You killed me in her eyes," she said, her voice cracking. "You orphaned her while I was still breathing." "I thought it was the only way," Samuel said. "If she believed you were alive, she would look for you, ask questions, draw attention." Olamide sank onto a concrete bench, sobbing openly now. "Where is she?" she asked again quietly. Samuel took a deep breath. "She's in Ibadan, with my sister." "Take me to her," Olamide said immediately. Samuel shook his head. "Not yet." She looked up sharply. "What do you mean, not yet?" "She doesn't know the truth," he said. "She believes her mother died when she was 5. You can't just appear." Olamide stood again, fury blazing through her grief. "I carried her for 9 months. I screamed her into this world. You don't get to decide when I see my child." Samuel nodded slowly. "Then you need to hear everything. All of it. Because once you step into her life again, there's no going back." Olamide folded her arms, her entire body shaking. "Then talk." Samuel looked at the sky, then back at her. "There's more you don't know," he said. "About your father, about why Zara was targeted, and about why Christmas was chosen for all of this." Olamide's heart sank, because she could already feel it. The truth wasn't just painful, it was dangerous, and Christmas had only just begun. Samuel did not speak immediately. He stood there, staring at the massive concrete walls of the National Theater, as if they might answer for him. The morning sun was rising now, casting long shadows across the grounds, but the warmth did nothing to soften the chill settling in Olamite's bones. "Sit," he said finally. "I won't," Olamite replied. "Not again. Every time I sit with you, my life collapses." Samuel nodded. "Then listen while you stand." He took a slow breath, steadying himself. "Your father's real name was Kunle Adebayo." Olamide stiffened. "That's impossible," she said quickly. "My mother told me." "Your mother told you what she was allowed to tell you," Samuel interrupted gently. "Kunle Adebayo wasn't just a name. It was a warning." Olamide's heartbeat thudded in her ears. Samuel continued. "Before he disappeared, your father was involved in illegal land acquisitions tied to politicians, military officers, and foreign investors. Entire communities were erased on paper. People lost homes overnight." "Why are you telling me this?" Olamide whispered. "Because your father didn't disappear," Samuel said. "He was eliminated, and when he died, his enemies assumed his bloodline died with him." Olamide felt dizzy, but when Zara was born, Samuel went on, the name resurfaced in hospital records. Someone remembered. Someone panicked. "So they came for my child," Olamide said hollowly. Samuel nodded. "They wanted leverage, insurance, a way to erase unfinished business." Olamide pressed her hands to her mouth. "You didn't save her," she said, tears streaming down her face. "You dragged her into my father's sins." Samuel flinched. "I tried to keep her invisible." "By killing me in her heart?" Silence. "I was wrong," Samuel said finally. "Every single day, I knew I was wrong." Olamide laughed bitterly. "You don't get forgiveness because you regret it." "I'm not asking for forgiveness," Samuel said. "I'm asking you to understand the monster I became because I was afraid." She stared at him for a long time. "Tell me about her," she said quietly. "About Zara." Samuel's face softened for the first time. "She's stubborn," he said. "Smart. She reads too much. She asks questions I don't always know how to answer. She hates loud celebrations. She loves Christmas lights, but pretends she doesn't." Olamide smiled through tears. "She used to hide under the table when fireworks went off." Samuel nodded. "She still does." Olamide closed her eyes, her chest aching with a love she had nowhere to put. "Does she remember me?" she asked. Samuel hesitated. "Sometimes," he said carefully. "She remembers fragments. A woman singing off-key, hands that smelled like soap and oranges, a voice." Olamide's knees nearly gave out. "That's me," she whispered. Samuel nodded. "She doesn't know it's you," he said, "but she feels the absence, especially at Christmas." Olamide opened her eyes, fire burning behind her tears. "Then I'm done waiting," she said. "I'm seeing my daughter today." Samuel shook his head. "Olamide, no," she snapped. "You don't get to control this anymore. If there's danger, I'll face it. If there's fallout, I'll carry it. But I will not spend another Christmas pretending my child is dead." Samuel studied her face. For the first time, he saw it clearly. The grief had sharpened her, hardened her, turned her into someone who could survive anything. "Then we need to do it right," he said quietly. "What does that mean?" "It means you don't show up as her mother," Samuel said. "Not yet." Olamide frowned. "Then what?" "You show up as a stranger," he said. "Someone she can meet without fear. Someone who doesn't shatter her world in one moment." Olamide's heart twisted painfully. "And when do I become her mother again?" she asked. Samuel met her eyes. "When she's ready, when the truth won't break her." Olamide turned away, staring at the quiet grounds. She hated him, but she knew he was right. "Take me to Ibadan," she said finally. "Today." Samuel nodded. "We leave now." The drive was long and silent. The road stretched endlessly, lined with trees and scattered villages, waking up to Christmas morning. Vendors waved bags of rice and chickens at passing cars. Children ran barefoot with sparklers, laughter ringing through the air. Every sound cut Olamide like a blade. That should have been her. By midday, they arrived at a modest house on a quiet street. "That's my sister's place," Samuel said. Olamide's heart pounded violently. "Is she inside?" she whispered. "Yes." "Does she know?" Olamide asked. Samuel shook his head. "Only that you are a family friend." Olamide swallowed hard. They stepped out of the car. The front door opened before they knocked. A woman stood there, older than Samuel, eyes sharp, expression guarded. "You took long," she said. Her gaze fell on Olamide. "And this must be her." Olamide stiffened. "She's beautiful," the woman said quietly. "Just like Zara." Olamide's breath caught. "She's inside," the woman continued. "In the living room, drawing." Olamide's legs felt like stone. Samuel leaned closer. "Are you ready?" "No," she said honestly. "Neither was I," he replied. "But we go anyway." They entered the house. The living room smelled of crayons and fried plantain. On the floor sat a girl, cross-legged, humming softly as she colored. Her hair was braided neatly. Her shoulders were broader now, her face older. But her eyes... Olamide's breath left her body. Those eyes had looked up at her every morning for 5 years. The girl glanced up. Her gaze met Olamide's. Time stopped. The pencil fell from the girl's hand. "Daddy," she said slowly, standing. "Who is she?" Olamide's chest burned. Samuel swallowed. "Zara. This is Olamide." The girl tilted her head, studying her. "You look familiar," Zara said. Olamide dropped to her knees. "I've been told I have one of those faces," she said shakily, forcing a smile through tears. Zara stepped closer. "Your voice," she said. "I know your voice." Olamide covered her mouth. Samuel turned away. Zara reached out, touching Olamide's cheek gently. "You sound like the woman in my dreams," she whispered. Olamide broke. She pulled Zara into her arms, sobbing openly, unable to stop herself. Zara stiffened in surprise, then slowly relaxed. She hugged her back. "I don't know why," Zara said softly, "but you feel like home." And in that moment, Christmas cracked open, but the truth still waited, and it would demand its price. Zara pulled away first, not abruptly, not in fear, just enough to look at Olamide properly. Her small hands stayed on Olamide's arms, as though she was afraid that if she let go completely, this woman would disappear like smoke. "Why are you crying?" Zara asked. Olamide opened her mouth. No sound came out. Samuel stepped forward quickly. "She's emotional," he said. "She hasn't seen you in a long time." Zara frowned. "But I've never seen her before." Olamide felt the lie like poison on her tongue. "That's true," she managed to say softly. "But sometimes people miss someone before they meet them." Zara studied her again. Too observant, too sharp, just like she used to be. "Are you staying?" Zara asked. Olamide looked at Samuel. "For a while," Samuel said, "if that's okay." Zara nodded slowly. "Okay." She bent down, picked up her pencil, then paused. "You can sit with me," she said to Olamide, "if you want." Olamide sat, and just like that, she was beside her daughter for the first time in 3 years, watching her color trees and stars, listening to her hum, a Christmas tune, slightly off-key. Her heart felt like it might burst open. The afternoon passed in fragile peace. Zara talked, a lot. She talked about school, about her favorite subject, about how she didn't like loud people but loved quiet ones, about how she hated goats but loved dogs, about how Christmas felt strange every year because it was supposed to be happy, but it always made her chest feel heavy. "I don't know why," Zara said casually, switching crayons. "It just does." Olamide swallowed hard. "Sometimes our hearts remember things our minds forget." Zara looked up. "That sounds sad." "It can be," Olamide said, "but it can also mean something important is waiting to be found." Zara considered that, then smiled. "You talk like a storybook." Olamide laughed softly. "I used to read a lot of them." Zara's eyes widened. "Me too." Samuel watched from the doorway, guilt written across his face. That evening, as the sun dipped low and shadows stretched across the living room, Samuel's sister called Zara into the kitchen to help with dinner. The moment Zara was out of earshot, Samuel turned to Olamide. "We need to talk," he said quietly. Olamide stood. "I know," she replied. "You can't control this anymore." "That's not what I meant," Samuel said. "Someone followed us." Olamide's blood ran cold. "What?" "On the highway," he said. "I noticed a black SUV. It kept its distance, but it stayed with us longer than coincidence allows." "You said the danger was gone," Olamide hissed. "I said the men were dead," Samuel replied grimly. "I didn't say the system they belonged to died with them." Olamide's chest tightened. "What do we do?" she asked. Samuel hesitated. "We keep pretending. For now." "No," Olamide said firmly. "I'm not lying to her anymore." "You already are," Samuel snapped. The words hung heavy between them. "She deserves the truth," Olamide continued. "Every day we delay, we make it worse." Samuel ran a hand through his hair. "And what if the truth puts her in danger again?" Olamide stepped closer. "Then we protect her together. But I will not disappear from her life again. Not even to save her." Samuel stared at her. For the first time, he realized he no longer held the power. Later that night, Zara sat on her bed, hugging a pillow to her chest. She had heard voices, not everything, but enough. Not safe. Truth. Mother. Her heart raced. She slipped out of bed quietly and crept toward the living room, where Olamide sat alone, staring out the window. "Are you my mother?" Zara asked. The words landed like thunder. Olamide had turned slowly. Zara stood there, small but steady, her eyes locked onto Olamide's face. "You sound like her," Zara said. "You smell like oranges and soap in my dreams. And Daddy looks scared when he talks to you." Olamide's entire body trembled. Samuel appeared behind Zara. "Zara." "No," Zara said firmly, not turning around. "I want her to answer me." Olamide knelt. Her voice broke. "Yes." Zara inhaled sharply. "You're alive," she whispered. "Yes." "Daddy said you died." Olamide closed her eyes. "I didn't." Zara's face crumpled. Tears spilled over. "You left me," Zara cried. "No," Olamide sobbed. "I never left you. I was taken from you." Zara backed away. "I don't know who to believe," she said, shaking. Samuel stepped forward. "Zara, Don't!" Zara screamed. "Just don't!" She ran past them, locking herself in the bedroom. The sound of the lock clicking shut echoed louder than any scream. Olamide collapsed onto the floor. "I broke her," she whispered. Samuel stood frozen. "No," he said hollowly. "I did." Outside, a car engine started, slowly, deliberately. Olamide looked up sharply. Samuel went to the window and peered through the curtain. The black SUV sat across the street, its headlights turned on, and for the first time since Christmas began, danger announced itself openly. The engine outside idled like a threat that had learned patience. Samuel stepped back from the window slowly, his face drained of color. "They found us." Olamide was already on her feet. "Who are they?" Samuel didn't answer immediately. He moved toward the hallway, listening. The house was too quiet. Then a sound cut through the stillness. The back door creaked. Olamide's heart slammed into her ribs. "Zara!" Samuel spun. "Zara!" They rushed toward the bedroom. The door was open. The window was open. The bed was empty. Olamide screamed. "She's gone," she cried, running to the window. "She's gone!" Outside, the narrow street was dimly lit. The black SUV sat at the far end, its lights still on. But closer, too close, small footsteps echoed against concrete. Zara was running. "Zara!" Olamide shouted. The girl froze for half a second, then ran harder. Fear had overtaken confusion. Survival had kicked in. Olamide didn't hesitate. She bolted out of the house barefoot, her heart pounding wildly. Samuel followed, shouting her name, but Olamide barely heard him. All she could see was her daughter, alive, terrified, slipping away again. Not again. Never again. Zara turned into a side street, knocking over a stack of empty crates. Olamide followed, her lungs burning, her legs screaming in protest. "Zara!" she cried. "Please, I won't leave you again." Zara stumbled. Olamide reached her just as she fell, wrapping her arms around her tightly. "I'm not taking you anywhere," Olamide sobbed. "I'm not running. I'm staying. I swear." Zara shook violently in her arms. "Everyone lies," she whispered. "Everyone leaves." "I won't," Olamide said fiercely. "Even if the whole world comes, I won't." Footsteps approached. Samuel appeared, breathless. "We have to move, now!" Before Olamide could respond, headlights flooded the street. The black SUV rolled closer. A door opened. A man stepped out. He was tall, dressed casually, smiling like this was a friendly visit. "Samuel," the man said calmly, "you have been difficult to reach." Olamide's body went rigid. "Get away from my daughter," she said, pulling Zara behind her. The man's eyes flicked to Zara, then back to Olamide. "So this is her." Zara clutched Olamide's dress. "You were told to stay invisible," the man continued, addressing Samuel. "Christmas sentimentality made you careless." Samuel stepped forward. "She's a child. Leave her out of this." The man chuckled. "Children inherit debts all the time." Olamide's rage exploded. "She owes you nothing," she screamed. The man finally looked at her properly. His smile faded slightly. "So you're the mother," he said. "You should have stayed buried." Before anyone could react, sirens pierced the night. Police lights flashed from the main road. The man cursed under his breath. Samuel stared at Olamide. "What did you do?" "I screamed," she said. "Loud enough." The man backed toward the SUV. "This isn't over," he warned, pointing at Zara. "It never is." The SUV sped off as police cars turned into the street moments later. Neighbors poured out of their houses, murmuring, confused. Zara collapsed against Olamide, sobbing uncontrollably. "I don't want secrets anymore," she cried. "I don't want lies." Olamide held her tightly. "Then we end them, tonight." Later, wrapped in blankets at the police station, Zara slept with her head on Olamide's lap, exhaustion finally winning. Samuel sat across from them, staring at the floor. "They won't stop," he said quietly. "Running won't work anymore." Olamide looked down at her daughter. "Then we stop running," she said. Samuel looked up. "How?" Olamide met his eyes, something unbreakable settling into her voice. "We tell the truth," she said. "Every name, every secret, every crime." Samuel swallowed hard. "That will destroy everything." Olamide nodded. "Good." Outside, Christmas fireworks exploded in the distance. But inside that coal station, a different promise was made. One of truth, one of protection, one of a mother who had already lost her child once and would burn the world before losing her again. Zara stirred slightly in her sleep and whispered one word. "Mummy." Olamide closed her eyes, tears streaming silently down her face. For the first time in 3 years, Christmas answered back. Christmas morning did not arrive gently. It arrived with fluorescent lights, stale air, and the metallic sound of handcuffs closing around wrists that had carried secrets for decades. Olamide hadn't slept. Not really. She sat upright in the small interview room, Zara still curled against her side, breathing softly, finally calm after the chaos of the night. Every time Zara stirred, Olamide's hand tightened instinctively, as if the world might try to take her again through sheer force of habit. Across the table, Samuel looked smaller than she had ever seen him. Not physically, spiritually. The man who once ran across borders with a child in his arms now sat hunched, fingers trembling, staring at a recorder blinking red. The truth was no longer theoretical. It was happening. A police officer entered quietly, nodding at Olamide. "Ma'am, we'll need to speak with you separately soon. Child services is on the way, but don't panic. Zara will remain with you." Olamide nodded, relief washing through her so sharply it almost hurt. Samuel exhaled shakily. "Once I start talking, there's no stopping it." Olamide didn't look at him. "You should have thought of that 3 years ago." He winced. "I know." The officer turned on the recorder. "State your full name." "Samuel Adeyemi." "And you are the biological father of the minor, Zara Adeyemi?" "Yes." "And you abducted her on December 24th, 3 years ago?" Samuel closed his eyes. "Yes." The word hung in the air, heavy and final. Olamide felt something loosen inside her, not forgiveness, not peace, but certainty. The story was no longer hers alone to carry. Samuel began to speak. He spoke of names long buried, of land deals disguised as development projects, of men who moved money through churches, banks, and ghost companies, of threats delivered politely, of warnings disguised as advice, and of fear, so much fear. "I thought I was protecting her," Charie, he said at one point, his voice breaking. "But every year I watched her grow without a mother, and I knew I had already destroyed something sacred." The officer paused the recording. Mr. Adeyemi, he said evenly, based on your statement and corroborating evidence we've been gathering for over a year, you are under arrest. The click of the handcuffs sounded louder than the sirens the night before. Samuel didn't resist. As he was led away, he turned once, just once, to look at Zara. I'm sorry, he whispered. Zara didn't respond. She buried her face deeper into Olamide's chest. And just like that, the man who controlled her world disappeared from it. Child services arrived mid-morning. They were calm, professional, kind. They asked questions, gentle ones. They reviewed documents Olamide never thought she'd need again. Birth certificates, hospital records, old photos she carried like proof of life. Zara watched everything silently. When one woman crouched to her level and asked softly, "Do you feel safe with your mother?" Zara didn't hesitate. "Yes," she said firmly. She doesn't lie with her eyes. Olamide broke down then, not loudly, not dramatically, just quiet tears that slipped out because for the first time, someone had believed her without question. By afternoon, the news had started to spread. Not on television yet, not officially, but whispers moved faster than headlines. Names were mentioned again. Names that had not been spoken publicly in years. Investigations reopened, old files dusted off. People who thought Christmas would cover them in silence suddenly realized it wouldn't. Olamide and Zara were escorted to a safe location that evening. A small apartment, plain, secure. It wasn't home, but it was together. That night, Olamide tucked Zara into bed. "I don't know what happens next," Olamide said honestly. "Things may get noisy. People may ask questions, but I promise you something." Zara looked up. "You won't disappear." "Never," Olamide said. "Not again." Zara nodded, then hesitated. "Can I still call you Mummy?" Olamide's throat closed. "Yes," she whispered. "Always." Zara smiled sleepily. Then Christmas finally makes sense. She drifted off moments later. Olamide sat there long after, watching her chest rise and fall, knowing that life would never be simple again. But it would be true. Outside, the city celebrated. Inside, a mother reclaimed what the world had no right to take. And somewhere behind locked doors and shaking hands, powerful men realized too late that Christmas had finally refused to stay silent. The knock came 3 days after Christmas. Not loud, not threatening, careful. Olamide knew immediately that it was not danger. Danger never knocked like it had manners. She checked the peephole anyway. 2 people stood outside, a woman in a neatly pressed suit and a man holding a folder so thick it looked like it had swallowed secrets whole. "Olamide Akinwale?" the woman asked when the door opened. "Yes." "I'm Barrister Funke Lawal," she said calmly. "This is Inspector Durojaye. We need to speak with you about your father." The past had finally caught up with its own shadow. Zara peeked from behind Olamide's legs, instantly alert. Olamide rested a hand on her shoulder. "It's okay. Go sit on the couch." Zara hesitated, then nodded. The visitors sat. No small talk, no sugarcoating. "We've confirmed Samuel Adeyemi's statements," the inspector said. "Your father was killed because he knew too much. His death was staged as an accident. His files were buried." Olamide listened without blinking. "What does that mean for my daughter?" she asked. Barrister Lawal folded her hands. "It means Zara was never just collateral. She was insurance. And now that insurance has expired." Olamide's heart skipped. "Expired how?" "Because the people who benefited from your father's silence are being exposed," the barrister said. "And when truth surfaces, power retreats." "But not quietly," the inspector added. Olamide nodded slowly. "So we keep running?" "No," Barrister Lawal said. "We make you visible." The word landed heavy. "Visibility is protection now," she continued. "You and Zara will testify. Your story will become public. They won't touch what the whole country is watching." Olamide closed her eyes briefly. Zara had asked for no more lies. This would be the hardest truth of all. The first interview aired on New Year's Eve. Olamide had never liked cameras, but she sat there anyway, back straight, voice steady, eyes unwavering. She did not cry, she did not shout. She told the truth plainly, about losing her child, about bearing grief without a body, about waking every Christmas to silence. And then she said one sentence that froze the room. "They told me my daughter was dead, but the truth was she was hidden, because silence was profitable." The clip went viral within hours. People argued, denied, reposted, debated, but something had shifted. Zara watched from another room, listening quietly. "Are you angry?" she asked later. Olamide shook her head. "I was, for a long time. But anger doesn't raise children." Zara thought about that. "Does truth?" Olamide smiled sadly. "Truth keeps them alive." Samuel was sentenced within months. Not for the bigger crimes, just the ones he committed with his own hands. He didn't fight it. When Olamide visited him once, just once, he looked relieved. "She's safe," he said quietly. "For now," Olamide replied. He nodded. "That's more than I gave her." She left without another word. Some apologies come too late to matter. Life did not become easy, but it became honest. Zara struggled at first. Nightmares, questions, anger that arrived without warning. Olamide stayed, every time. Some nights they cried together. Some nights they laughed unexpectedly. Some nights they sat in silence, healing without words. 1 year later, Christmas returned again. Olamide held the same red dress, but this time it was too small. Zara stood taller now, grinning. "I've grown," Olamide laughed. "I noticed. They donated the dress, not as closure, but as acknowledgement. that some things were meant for another version of life. That night, they decorated a small tree together. No crowds, no noise, just quiet lights and shared air. Zara placed the star on top, carefully. "Do you think Christmas is always this hard?" she asked. Olamide considered the question. "No," she said gently, "but it always asks for honesty." Zara nodded. "Then I think I like it now." Outside, fireworks lit the sky. Inside, a miracle sat breathing, real, flawed, and alive. And for the first time, Christmas did not feel like a wound. It felt like a scar. And scars, Olamide had learned, meant survival. 5 years later, Christmas arrived without announcing itself. No sirens, no cameras, no fear hiding behind joy, just morning lights slipping through lace curtains, and the soft sound of breathing in the next room. Olamide woke before her alarm, the way she always did now. Not from anxiety, those days were gone, but from habit, from motherhood settling into her bones again, like something that had always belonged there. She padded into the kitchen and began to cook quietly. The kettle whistled, bread toasted. The smell of fried eggs and tea leaves filled the small apartment in Ibadan they now called home, not a safe house, not temporary. Home. Behind her footsteps. "Mummy," Zara said sleepily. Olamide turned. Zara was taller now, 13, all legs and opinions and a sharp intelligence that made teachers both proud and nervous. Her hair was wrapped carelessly, her eyes still half dreaming. "You're up early," Olamide said. Zara shrugged. "Couldn't sleep. Christmas still does that thing." Olamide nodded. "Me too." They shared a quiet smile. They no longer pretended Christmas was perfect. They had agreed long ago not to lie to each other, not even in small ways. They ate together in silence, comfortable and unafraid. After breakfast, Zara reached under the tree and pulled out a small wrapped box. "This one's for you," she said, sliding it across the table. Olamide frowned. "We said no big gifts." "It's not big," Zara replied, "just important." Olamide unwrapped it slowly. Inside was an old cassette tape. Her heart skipped. Zara swallowed. "I found it in Daddy's old things. The police released them last year. I didn't listen until yesterday." Olamide looked up. "What is it?" Zara's voice was steady, but her hands trembled. "It's you, singing." Olamide's breath caught. "My sister helped me fix an old player," Zara continued. "You were singing to me when I was little, before everything." Olamide closed her eyes. She remembered that night. Harmattan wind, power outage. Zara restless in her arms. She had sung just to calm herself, never thinking it would matter. "I wanted you to have it," Zara said softly. "So you know, I wasn't completely gone from you either." Olamide stood and pulled her into a hug, holding her tightly. "Thank you," she whispered, "for finding me again." Zara hugged back just as hard. "You didn't disappear. You were just paused." They laughed quietly at that. Later that afternoon, they walked to church, not out of obligation, but tradition rebuilt on their own terms. They sat in the back. They left early. No one stared. No one whispered. Olamide liked it that way. That evening, they returned home and lit candles instead of turning on the lights. Zara curled up beside her on the couch. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if I didn't run that night?" Olamide didn't hesitate. "Yes." "Does it scare you?" "Yes." "Me too," Zara said. They sat with that honesty, letting it exist without needing to be fixed. Outside, fireworks exploded, loud and bright. Zara flinched instinctively. Olamide wrapped an arm around her. "It's okay." "I know," Zara said, "but some sounds take longer to forgive." Olamide nodded. "So do some people." The fireworks faded. Silence returned. Zara yawned. "I'm glad you stayed." Olamide kissed the top of her head. "I always will." That night, after Zara fell asleep, Olamide sat alone for a moment, the cassette tape in her hands. She didn't play it. She didn't need to. The proof was breathing in the next room. Christmas had taken a lot from her, but it had also returned something precious. Not innocence, not simplicity, but truth. And truth, she had learned, was louder than fear. As she turned off the light, Olamide whispered the same words she said every year now. "We survived." And for the first time, Christmas didn't echo back with pain. It stayed, quietly, honestly, like it always should have. And maybe that's what Christmas really is. Not the noise, not the lights, not the pretending, but the moment the truth finally refuses to stay buried. Olamide lost years she could never get back. Zara lost a childhood shaped by silence and lies. And Samuel lost everything the moment fear made him choose control over love. But one thing survived it all: truth. Because sometimes the real miracle of Christmas isn't what we receive. It's what finally comes to light. If this story moved you, don't scroll past it. Like this video so it reaches someone who needs it. Subscribe for more real, emotional stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark. And drop a comment below. Do you think Samuel did the right thing? Or was fear never an excuse? I'll see you in the next story.